Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Emily Talks To. Today was a silly goose episode. I was lucky enough to find Miss Clarke Rose, a legendary sex coach, and she just let us into her world a little bit. We got to know maybe some shitty sex she's had in the past. I know I've had some shitty sex in the past, and let's be real, I'm probably going to have some in the future. She's also going to let us know where the clit is, which it's kind of crazy. A lot of you men still don't know where it is. So if you listen, we'll find out together. So please buckle up and welcome to Emily Talks To. We're so ready.
I felt that. That was good energy. Is this working? You tested it, right?
Yeah, we're testing. We're ready.
We're ready.
You guys, I am over the dadgum moon right now because I was able to get Miss Clarke Rose, the one and only. She is a sex coach. She's becoming a family and marriage therapist, and she's going to school us a little bit. I feel like we're going to learn a lot. We may cry. We may laugh. It's going to be a range of emotions.
Yes.
So I just want to start off. Tell us what is a sex coach? What
is a
advice
sex
do you give?
coach?
What do you teach the world?
A lot of people think a sex coach is like someone in the bedroom, like coaching people how to have sex, or at least that's what it sounds like. And I definitely don't do that. How do I explain what I do? I specialize in women's pleasure.
Okay.
So like vulva pleasure, anorgasmia, inability to orgasm, desire discrepancies. And yeah, I started that work 4 years ago, and I work one-on-one with women to understand their bodies better, advocate for themselves, feel more confident. But recently I've also started seeing couples and men. And I also see I have a few trans clients now, all over the map now.
So you're doing the Lord's work, really. So do you do one-on-one sessions with people? You said you also do couples.
Yeah.
So do you have like an office space that you come in and?
I don't have an office space as of yet. I do everything on the internet.
Okay.
And all my clients are all over the world. So I don't even have like a local client base except for when I do my therapy work. That's all in Inglewood. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's all on the internet, and it's just one-on-one. It's kind of like regular therapy.
So is it talk therapy? I mean, because I've also heard there are certain like trauma release therapies where there's like intravaginal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Are you working with the body? I mean, it's on Zoom.
Sure. Yeah.
Or is it all talk? Like what would a session look like?
Yeah, it's such a good question. It's really embodied. So if there's sexual pain or sexual trauma, I'll send someone also to like a pelvic floor physio or like a body worker, and then we kind of work in tandem together. And I think that's a really important part of the work. Like stuff that you talk through, it's also embodied. You also need to literally get it out. Mm-hmm. But I give a lot of like embodied exercises, and I'm like, dance, this, that, stretch, like let's move stuff through the body. So yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of talk therapy. I like to understand people's relationship with their body, with pleasure, with sex, their values. Because I think a lot of how we live our everyday life is how we end up being in the bedroom. Like everything impacts one another. So I like to go through a lot of just like, what do you like at work?
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of build off of that.
Yeah.
So then what's the biggest issue that you feel like you see with people? Or I guess specifically with women?
They don't like the sex they're having.
So they don't like the sex they're having. Is that something that you then have to like dig into their past and like figure out where is it stemming from? Is it usually the man?
Uh-oh. Oopsies.
Uh-oh.
For a long time, I had mostly the women that were coming to me were like cisgender heterosexual women who date men. Mm-hmm. And I was like, there's a trend here. Like, I don't get that many lesbian clients complaining about their sex life. But these are all like generalizations. Like, everything's different, People maybe come to me because of that specialty that I really got started with. But It's usually like I can't orgasm with a partner. I see that a lot. And I see a lot of women putting a lot of pressure on themselves to be orgasmic with a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of like not feeling confident in their body. A lot of women have histories with like ED or like body image issues.
Yeah. It really is a mind game, huh? Like it's so much of like, yes, there's obviously the physical aspect of it, but if your head isn't in the game,
yes,
then you're not going to get there.
100%.
So is it true that only 17% of women can orgasm from penetration?
Yeah, I would say it's around 17. The latest numbers have been more like, 30% of women are orgasmic from penetration. But that study that quoted 30% definitely included women who like enjoy clitoral stimulation and get that at some point in the act.
Right.
I have a lot of opinions about that.
How does that... does that mean like you're born with something? Because listen, I've had great sex.
Good.
But I have never been able to finish from penetration.
Yes.
And I understand that there like maybe something biologically, like what, do I not have a G-spot? Like what is...
Oh my God. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Please therapize me because I'm like, what am I doing? But then I think I also haven't been in super emotionally connected relationships. So is it something where, you know, once I'm in a long-term thing, am I coming for the gods?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I have a lot of opinions about orgasms because people are like, how do you orgasm? You know, G-spot, clitoral, nipple, brain, gas. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, just shut the fuck up. Like, I don't know why we're hierarchizing women's orgasms or like people with vulvas, you know? Because we don't do that with men. We don't go like, do you have a handjob orgasm or do you have a penetrative orgasm?
Interesting.
All their orgasms are just orgasms.
Right.
And for some reason, we've decided to make women feel bad. Like, if you can only have a clitoral orgasm, you're some kind of, I don't know.
You're like broken.
You're broken.
Or something.
You only have the one kind. If you have a vaginal orgasm, you're like the special cool girl that can orgasm from her vagina. And then if you have all the other crazy ones, you're just, I don't even know. Everyone's like, what's happening? You know, you're having mind-gasms? Like, what's that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't compare yourself to that. Really specifically, I don't think the G-spot's real.
It's a myth.
Yeah, I think it's a myth.
Okay.
I know different sexologists have different opinions, so again, like, don't hate me. If you're out there and you're like, no, it does. Or if you're in a body where you're like, no, I have something in there and you rub it and I come. Like, I'm so happy for you. But I just don't think that's everyone. I really don't.
Okay.
I don't. I think all orgasms stem from the inner clitoral structure that kind of wraps around the vagina, and there's a bunch of yummy erectile tissue in there. And sometimes if you're stimulating inside, it can get all that up and you can have some kind of like blended orgasm. But I don't think there's just like one secret spot that like needs to be unlocked and you just start coming every time you have a dick inside of you.
Interesting, because I feel like that also kind of perpetuates women feeling like there's something wrong with them.
Yes.
You know, and men being like, oh, I'll do it.
I'll find it.
No.
No, you won't.
You won't.
You won't find it.
And that's fine.
And it's okay.
Oh, okay. So then maybe this is too broad of a question, but what in your opinion makes sex good?
Oh, such a good question. Oh my God. So many things, but so few things. Like, I want to say, like, for me, good sex is like, I feel safe. Which for women is huge because a lot of women have been through, you know, various traumas or just not feeling empowered in their sexual choices.
Right.
That's another thing I see a lot. Don't let me forget your question.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of women who are like, I want to unpack the like 20, you know, people say the slut phase. They're like, I want to unpack that. Like, I don't know if I was having sex for me or them or like if I was really empowered in my choices. And I find the slut phase, first of all, I hate that term because for people who are intentionally single or like have a lot of sex all the time, there's no phase. Like, people are like, I had these 6 months, then I found like my boyfriend, now we're married. And I'm like,
it makes it seem like the 6 months there was something wrong.
Yes.
Or it's like you can't
or
perpetually like, be in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, my slut phase is my whole life. Like, I'm always going to have periods of crazy sex. I mean, I don't know, you know, I hate the slut phase thing. So I see that a lot too. Women are like, I really need to think through a lot of the sex I've had. Like, was I aware? Was I present? Was I asking for what I needed? Or was I just kind of like making the man happy? So good sex to me is like you're saying yes to that sex wholeheartedly. Like you really want it. You're not saying it because you feel like you owe them anything.
Yeah.
You're not being pressured into it. You are like, I'm horny and I want to have sex.
Right.
That's already a great place to be in.
Yeah.
You know?
Which unfortunately I feel like is not always the case. Like I think and I'm speaking more for hetero relationships, there is such a drive for women to want to be wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so the moment that there is a man who's giving you attention or wants to have sex with you or makes you feel beautiful, like that is what draws you into the bedroom.
Yep.
But then that's already setting you up for a place of not having selfish sex, but not being in a place of like, wow, I'm ready to get my back blown the fuck out.
Yeah, back blown the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And then I'm sure is it just like compatibility? Like making sure that, you know, is kinks a bad word? Like making sure your kinks are aligned or like how.
I think you are getting at something good here, which is I think sex deserves more conversation than we give it.
Right.
Like you could have a talk before sex. I mean, sometimes you don't, right? You're just drunk and you just have sex. And
sure.
Like, that's great too. I've done that. But like, I think sometimes it's like, like the question you asked me, I asked a partner once one of my female partners, and she was like mind blown. She was like, you're asking me like what I like and what's going to make this good. And I was like, yeah, you have a different vulva than other vulvas I've seen. Like, I'm not going to assume. And I think it's the same with different kinds of penises and like everyone's going to have their own thing that works for them. So good sex would be someone being like, you know, what do you like? And for a lot of people, the problem is that's a really hard question to answer because a lot of people really don't know what they like.
It is kind of crazy. We all just kind of like guess.
Yes.
We all just enter the bedroom and we're like, I'm just going to play with your balls and hope you like this. And like,
for sure.
For the love of God, I don't know how we're going to teach men where the clit is. For the amount of porn that is out there, that is accessible, I'm like, I had a man recently who was just straight up rubbing vulva. Rubbing outside labia.
Like when they're like on your left thigh kind of, and you're like...
And he was like, come for me. I'm like, where are we going? Where are we going? I'm not going anywhere. And I do feel like there is something that kind of happens where as we get older, and listen, I'm still guilty of faking orgasms.
Oh, been there.
Yeah. And I would love to get to a place where I don't. I do think there's also a whole thing of women naturally being people pleasers and not wanting to be upset and be like, no, you're actually doing a good job when like, and it's not even that it's the man's fault.
No. Yeah.
It's in the sense that like, we just have to work together.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
100%. I think when we say like something's working for years and years and years, it's not working. Because I work with married people, you know, 30, 40, 50s, and they've been saying something works that doesn't work. And now they're like 20 years into their relationship with kids. And they're like, I hate the sex I'm having. I hate it. I'd rather do anything else. I'd rather go take out the trash. I'd rather wash dishes. Like, I don't want to fuck my husband.
Right.
And I think that they're like, how do I begin to say I want something else? And I'm like, well, think of it like this. As humans, we evolve all the time. Like, for a few months in a row, I'm getting a cold brew. Then for a few months in a row, maybe I'm getting a iced latte.
Right.
You know, then I want it's a cold day, I want a little cappuccino.
Sure.
You know, and why are we...
Switch it up.
Switch it up. Why are we... And the barista doesn't go, no, you never said you liked that before. You can't like that now.
Right.
But why are we like with sex, like the same thing is supposed to work for us forever? Like you said, we go into it knowing nothing. So the only way we really learn in this day and age without sex education is from having sex and from masturbating.
Right.
So like you have to kind of be like, I'm sorry, I know I always said sucking on my clit, you know, worked, but I really want to try this. Like, get behind me and touch me how I touch myself. Or like,
right.
Let's throw in a toy. Let's do something else. And I think that's where it's on the men to not be like in their ego and be like, well, this has been working before.
Sure.
Or, you know, shouldn't my dick just be a nut? Like, that's where men can play a part in being like, I'm open to you changing your mind.
I have found that straight men have such a hard time, and this is not a podcast to bash on straight men either, but they have such a hard time accepting feedback. And I understand feedback doesn't feel great.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, it can be scary.
100%.
Yeah.
But there is something so threatening to being told that what you're doing maybe is wrong, isn't working, isn't aligned with what you're doing. And I just want to say, like, the threat, there's no big threat. The stakes are not that high.
Yeah.
Like, if you are wanting to have a better sex life, we're all going to benefit.
Right?
So just tits out.
Tits
Listen
out.
to what I have to say.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
And I think if you are out there and you're a man who has sex with women and you are with a woman who's finally opening up and saying, actually, like, can you touch the right side of my vagina or something? Take that as a gift. Like, don't take that as a bad thing, because a lot of women, it takes a lot of bravery to finally say, like, I actually want this. So, like, if they're saying it, it is not a criticism of you. It means, like, they feel good enough with you, or, like, they want to have good sex with you.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
It's a good thing.
So I know you're in a relationship with a man right now.
I am.
Do you think having sex with a man is better than a woman? Is it different? Do you have a preference?
Yeah. What I really appreciate about having sex with women, what I love about it and what I think does sometimes make it better, is that there's no script for it. So, like, where you fall in bed with a man and you're like, hee, like, you know, don't you like my tits? And, like, look how I can suck your dick and look how you eat me out and then we fuck.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like there's a little bit of a formula. I try not to follow that formula because that would be really boring. But when you have sex with a woman, you know, you're like, what are we going to do? The sex looks really different.
So there's kind of this, like, built-in spontaneity to it.
And you're really listening to the other person. You're really focusing on how their body's responding.
Right.
I find that the sex is often, like, longer. Like, you're going to kiss for, like, a long time.
Right.
Then you might move to, like, above clothes, under clothes. I mean, it's just, like, I think it's longer. I think there's more communication. And I think because you don't know exactly what's going to happen next, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
But my boyfriend's great.
The sex is great. We love him. That is not a dig on him.
No, he's great.
So I had sex with a woman once, and it was in my little experimental phase. I was like, I just want to know what it's like.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure.
It was so... there's so much I could say about it.
Yeah, tell me.
So first of all, she was so authentically shy, which I thought was so darling.
Yeah, it was cute.
And there's a caregiver inside of me, and so I just felt the need to, like, almost take care of her, which I feel like in my relationships with men, I try to kind of dampen that part of me to not make the man feel insecure, feminine, whatever.
Yeah.
And it felt so nice to just kind of, like, fall into more of that, like, masculine role a little bit.
Cool. I love that.
And to look at a vagina head on is such a wild experience, because we can't really
look at it
see
head
our
on.
You know, we're getting one view. We can get a mirror, breaking our necks. And I just asked her, I was like, can I just stare at this for a hot second? Like, this is so wild.
Yeah.
And she was just so, bless her heart, if she hears this, she'll probably want to kill me. But it really was an exercise in just kind of letting go, being with someone who is inherently safe. Like, I think women just provide that safety.
Yeah. I mean, we do.
And they have the same anatomy.
And we have the same anatomy.
So she kind of knew what was going on. It was... There was so much that I was able to take from that experience into my future relationships.
Yeah.
So ladies, if you have the opportunity to experiment, try it now. With that being said, you have to be very communicative. We can't keep telling these gorgeous lesbians that we're one way when we're not, because they've dealt with enough of the straight bullshit.
And they are getting cranky. I do work with a lot of lesbians that are like, I can't take any more baby gays, or even bisexuals, which, like, I understand this could get real heated. But I think it's just that. It's just communication.
Yeah, just
like,
be open.
Be so open, and then that's the best you can do.
Right.
Then everyone knows where you're at.
Oh my God, no, there was so much. So then, if you don't mind me asking, is there a memory, story, situation that you remember where the sex was just terrible? Like, just abysmal?
Oh God, I probably have a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we pay our dues.
I probably have so many. I have a good one. I have a good one. Uh-oh. Okay, this is going to cause some drama. No, it won't. It won't. But it was a Netflix director.
Oh, okay.
Oh God. And it was he was 46.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of time there to get good at sex.
Right.
And it was the worst sex I've ever had in my life. He lived in, what's that beautiful, is it Laurel Canyon? Topanga Canyon?
Yeah.
One of the canyons.
Okay.
Where you go up there and there's just like beautiful mansion houses, but you feel like you're in the forest.
Right. So you're already getting a little wet on the drive
Yeah,
up.
so I was like, love this for me.
Yeah.
He had like a beautiful jacuzzi and pool outside that like you just didn't feel like you were in LA. It was so beautiful. But I've just never met anyone who's so, like, did not understand a woman's body at all, which was very concerning. He was also married for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he, like, probably gets he's, like, handsome, but nothing. Like, no, I don't think even any rubbing, any touching, any acknowledgement that I had a pussy or, like, anything. Bad kissing, no ability to make out, just, like, stiff kind of kissing. And, like, the sex was so bad that I think I just dissociated through it, and I think he didn't even notice that, like, I was checked out, which, like, is very bad. Like, you should be like, are you having fun? Like, you okay?
No, he was in his own world.
He was just in his own world, and it was horrible, and he didn't know that it was bad. Like, when I told him about it after, he was like, I'm shocked. I thought you loved that. And I was like,
damn.
Wow. That's, what is that called? Ignorance?
Yeah, we need a little wake-up call.
Yeah, I was like, that's really concerning.
Damn.
So
Did he come?
For sure.
They always do.
They always do.
They always do.
Get one in there. They're always coming.
Oh my God. I also have this theory that men with big dicks aren't good at sex. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Because I think when they grew up, it was always known that, like, Jerry has a big dick.
Yeah.
And so Jerry used that as, like, his crutch. Yeah. And then all the women wanted to be like, ooh, I want to see the big dick.
The big dick.
And so you never learn how to use it.
100% agree.
Oh my God. Like, it's the same thing with people when they say, like, you know, tall people kind of get away with a lot, whereas, like, short men have to use so much of their personality. And we love a short king.
I do. Been there.
But I remember the last bad sex I had, he had such an atrociously large dong. Oh. It was like, it was a joke. I laughed, which I shouldn't have.
Did it impale you? Like, sometimes I'm like, ow.
Well, the thing is, there was no foreplay.
Oh, my God.
Because...
Horrible.
Are you ready?
Oh, no.
Buckle up. He knew... this was within a conversation, but he knew that my period was, like, around the corner. And he said he didn't want to, quote, go down on me because my period was so close.
What the hell?
And I just want to say this to anyone who doesn't know what a period is. When you start your period, it isn't The Shining.
No, it's like, beep.
Yeah, it's just a little kiss.
Yeah.
That just kind of drops.
Yeah.
And it was so shocking.
Wow.
Didn't finger me, and I'm like, you think you're gonna shove
that ginormo,
this donkey dick? And then he's like, yeah, like, sex for me is, like, sometimes kind of hard. I'm like,
what?
Women can literally push out a watermelon outside of this.
I don't know.
If you just oil me up, maybe we can get somewhere. And he kept spitting in my mouth and, like...
Oh, I hate when they kind of do that without talking about it.
That's the thing. I'm like, maybe if I was riled up, sure. But now I feel like I have mono, and it just... Oh, it was so upsetting. And then I got BV that wouldn't go away for, like, fucking 8 years. It was horrible. Horrible.
That's the worst, when you get a yeast infection or BV or anything from, like, sex that wasn't even good.
No.
Like, if I had great sex, okay, give me an STI. But, like, if it's horrible sex and I get an STI, I'm mad.
It's cranky. A crime against women.
It is.
Okay, I actually learned, too, that my OB told me that with lesbian sex, yeast infections are more common.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something with, like, pHs. I don't know, because I ended up getting one after. And she's like, oh, yeah, this is, like, very common. Again, maybe she was just saying that to make me...
I feel like yeast infections could come from anyone. Because, like, men can also get yeast infections.
Right.
And they can also, like, have a weird pH that messes with your pH.
You can get it from, like, a bathing suit, right? Or, like, gym shorts. And
so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's possible. I can't confirm or deny.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
Oh, vaginas are so finicky.
They are. They're really finicky. And back to the clit thing, I fully don't understand how people can't find the clitoris. Like,
It's not hidden.
It's not hidden. It's like, and even if you have a really, really small one, because I recently started working with some people that have really, really small clitorises, like really small. I'm like, even if it's that, it's still at the top. Like, it's still at the top where the lips meet. Like, I don't know. It doesn't move around.
I think men think it's in the middle.
Oh my
I think
God.
they think it's near the hole.
That's awful.
And everyone,
So
it's
bad.
at the top.
Just at the top. Like right where
Tippy
the
top.
Right there. If you are generally rubbing in that area, like you're going to be at least around it. Like just don't, I don't know. That thing for me, that myth, I'm like, it's really bad. Like it's really not that
It's
hard
not
to
a
find.
mystery.
It's not that
Also, and if you don't know,
complicated.
ask.
Yeah.
Be like, am I close? And we will fucking find it together. Treasure map. Oh my God. Yeah, I remember with the woman, I was like, vaginas are all snowflakes. They look so different.
They look so different. Yeah.
And I was like, this is so wild.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're so different. So that's why I also think, like, when you were earlier, we were like, it's not on all men. And I don't, have anything against men. I'm dating a man. But, like, every vulva does look really different. So that's a lot of the work I do with women, too, is like, hey, you might have to communicate to someone you're with how you want to be touched.
Right.
Because a lot of women, too, figure out one way to orgasm when they're younger, whether it's, an electric toothbrush, hands, the water spigot, something, humping a pillow, and whatever they do, that's usually how they orgasm the rest of their life. Like, it's kind of hard to, like, change that or alter it. You can.
Right.
So a lot of women have one way that like gets them off. And I'm like, you need to be, if that's the way that you get off and they're just like rubbing, during penetration and that's not the same stimulation, like that's not going to do it for you. You need to figure out how to like communicate that.
So then how do women, like what's the lesson there for women to be more exploratory? Because I didn't realize that you can have like different styles or different
like all these different masturbation things.
Yeah.
There's like, I mean, you want to start that you could book a sex coach.
Yes.
Because it is kind of like a longer term process. You want to start like expanding the way that you masturbate. So like one way to do that is just put more time into it. Like instead of laying down and grabbing like whatever you use, like spend time touching your full body, like eat some dark chocolate, like awaken the senses, like play sexy music, like just like expand when you get closer to orgasm. We like a lot of us really like tense when we're getting close. So like when you are there, like actively release and kind of let that tension go and then build it up again. You can like play with the way that you orgasm that way. If you never use a toy, try using a toy. If you always use a toy, try using your hand. Like try humping a pillow, try in other things.
Be exploratory.
Yeah, it might not always get you off the way that, you're used to, but that's okay. Like, we don't also always play around to get off. Like, you also can feel really good and, find out new things about your body.
I love that.
Great.
So then, are there ways to make the orgasm last longer?
Yeah, I would say there are. I would say every orgasm is different. Every orgasm happens on a spectrum. So, I think, too, that's another thing. Like, some women will be like, I want to have, 15-minute orgasms. And I'm like, well,
same. But
yeah, who doesn't?
Hello?
But I don't know if that's going to happen every time. I think we always have to be really, kind with our bodies. But if you want a longer orgasm, it would simply be about expanding the time that you're masturbating for.
Okay.
There's cool orgasmic meditations that exist, even on YouTube and stuff, that are an hour long, and they make you touch every part of your body and get really close and then move away and get really close and move that.
You'll
orgasm
kind of edge
will be
yourself
intense.
a little bit.
Yeah, edging yourself really
I am
helps.
so obsessed lately, by the way, speaking of orgasm meditations, with semen retention. Yes. I think there is something so hot about a man who can train himself to still have an orgasm, but not nut.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's wild, isn't it? It's so cool. And it's cool how that's getting more attention now. I feel like it's gaining popularity in the last 5 or so years.
Right.
And that's a really cool thing to learn how to do.
There really is. It's such a testament to how much of it, and we talked about this, is mental.
Yeah.
Get yourself in a headspace where you feel open, curious, and just explore.
Yeah.
Okay, so with every episode, I do a little word association.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 5 words.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. It can be a word, a phrase,
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay, I'm scared. Who knows what's going to come out of my mouth?
It's going to be crazy. Okay. Cunnilingus.
Pussy.
Squirt.
Tantra.
Queef.
Funny.
Bottomless breadsticks.
Delicious.
The Mars rover.
Men.
Love. You did it. You survived.
The Mars rover.
Just got to keep people on their toes.
Just sounds like something that like a man would be really interested in. Like
It's like the Roman
of, like,
Empire.
the Mars rover.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Well, so I want to pivot a little bit because I saw on your social media you posted this woman who was offering classes on how to be a unicorn. And so if you are open to talking about, for those who don't know, a unicorn, and tell me if I'm wrong, is...
yes, this.
Yeah. Yep.
Got it.
Is you would be the third in a couple's sexual experience.
Yes.
So do you have experience being a unicorn?
I actually don't.
Okay.
And I will put that out there in the universe.
That's fine.
Because I think that a lot of people, too, when they look at a sex coach, are like, oh, maybe she's done everything. And I like to be really honest about, like, there are things I'm waiting to try or haven't come across my plate yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of them. But my friend who posted that, my friend Margot, is Unicorn Queen. Like, I'll let her speak to her experiences. But, yeah. She, like, teaches me all about that.
Wild.
And I would love to do it. I'm in a relationship now, so like I'll be looking for a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really particular about that because I really want my partner to know that like, hey, we're not like sexualizing whoever we bring in.
Mm-hmm.
This is not your male fantasy. Like this is just going to be an open, curious, like playful experience. I'm bi, so like it's going to be great. I think, I have attraction to lots of people.
Yeah.
But like that's gonna be a safely navigated thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something for the future to look forward to.
Yeah.
I've been on Field, which is an
yes.
app. It's like a sex positive app, and you can look for any and everything.
Yeah, I love Field.
It was so fascinating seeing so many couples looking for unicorns. And I thought, what a cool place to kind of find that. I'm sure. I've thought about, I've never been in a threesome.
Yeah.
And I have a metal spine. So I'm like, geometrically, I can't imagine.
You have a metal spine?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I had scoliosis. They like fucked me up. But
Oh no.
I'm like, I can't imagine bending in ways in a threesome.
Yeah.
And then it also just seems a little overstimulating.
I probably would be overstimulated.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
But that's also coming from a people pleaser. And I'm like,
you're right.
How would I make everyone be okay? But maybe it's also, there's an element of just like letting go.
Just having fun.
Yeah.
I feel like if I were to be in one, like I would be trying. Sometimes it's hard for me to get out of my like sex coach brain.
Yeah.
Like I'm in that sometimes even in my personal life or in my relationships. So I feel like if I was having a threesome, I'd be with the girl like, are you okay? Like, is he touching your vulva right? Like, is this working for you? Do you feel safe? Like, is there consent? I'd probably be like a psychopath and wouldn't be able to drop into it. I'd have to work on that.
Yeah, you'd almost be in a constant like third person perspective instead of being like immersed.
In it.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Sex is kind of weird for me, actually.
Huh. Well, I mean, I feel like that's with any therapy. Like so many therapists, they say, are also a little cuckoo bananas.
I mean,
but that's the best.
3.5 years in therapy school, we're all weird.
But that's what we want, right?
Yeah.
Like
No,
you want
yeah.
someone who gets it, who's been through. I don't want a therapist who's never had anxiety.
Right?
That's insane.
Yeah, and I also think therapists, like good therapists, are people who don't have a God complex.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you're getting into therapy because you're like, I want to give people advice, which, by the way, that's bad therapy.
Yeah.
And also, I want, people to look up to me and that's weird. That's like some Freudian shit.
Yeah.
Therapy these days should be like, you're just guiding your client to what they already know, and you're giving them tools, and like, your client knows more about their life than you do, so just like, listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, add in psychoeducation or whatever, but like
Right.
anyways, we're all a little weird.
I love it though. My therapist is so cuckoo bananas, and
Good.
she's the love of my life.
I love that.
So I want to know if you weren't a therapist or if you weren't a sex coach, what do you think you would be doing right now?
Oh, I love this question. I love this question because I always say in my other life I'd be this or in my other life I'd be that.
Mm-hmm.
So originally wanted to be an actor growing up and still fucking love the theater. Like, I love it. I watched Theater Camp the other night. Have you seen that movie?
Very darling.
It was so cute.
Very darling.
Made me chuckle, and I was like, I get all the references because I'm a dork. So probably an actor.
Mm-hmm.
A singer. I'd love to be a singer. Then I have other things, like I'd love to be a fashion designer. Can't do that, but I would love to.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to be a lawyer in my other life, Elle Woods type
Okay,
lawyer.
niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I like...
You can command a room.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Like walk in and be like, actually this, you know, and...
In like a cute little pink kitten heel?
Yeah, and just be like really cute. And I love like proving people wrong, but I don't do it a lot in my daily life because I like to have open conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was somewhere where I could be like, you know...
Oh, it feels so good.
So satisfying.
Yeah, yeah.
And then my last one would be an investigative journalist.
I love all of these.
I know. I want to actually do them all.
I was going to say, well, who knows? Maybe you become all of them.
Well, sometimes you meet people, you know, like there are people in my program, my therapy program, in their 40s, 50s doing like a career switch.
Yeah.
I know a lawyer, I know a professor, and they're just like, I decided I want to be a therapist. And I'm like, how cool. Like you already had 20 years of a successful career. Now you're doing something else.
Right.
So
right.
you never know.
I feel like we all, especially now, think that, when I say now, I mean, you know, mid to late 20s. We think we know, like, what our future's going to hold.
Yeah.
And it's so silly.
So silly.
It's like who I thought it was going to be 5 years ago versus today. I may be a damn baker. I don't know.
Imagine how fun that would be.
Just with my silly chef's hat. Oh, it would be amazing.
But I also think, like, that idea is so intrinsically American, too. That,
Sure.
like I work in... I won't talk about that, but
We got some secrets.
anyways. But I think, you know, there's so much pressure on like kids these days to be like, this is the university I'm going to go to. This one, I'm like, how the fuck do you know what you're going to do when you're 18?
Yeah,
Like
you don't.
And how do you know that you're going to like that? Like your life changes thousands of times over.
Yeah,
And you're expected to be like, no, I want to be in marketing and I want to do this. It's like, you don't know that.
yeah.
And Europeans are, not all, Europe is, you know, big, but a lot of Europeans are like, you just go and live your life. You go live in a different country. You work in a cafe. I mean, my friends now are like 27, 28, and they're like, I think I'm going to go to school for nursing. And I'm like, you figured it out. You like waited a while.
Well, the same could be said about relationships, like who you are when you're 18, 22, 24, 28, 35 is so different than the future. And God bless you if you can survive those years with the same partner.
Right?
But I, you know, have a lot of friends that got married young, and I'm like, first of all, Mazel Tov, love it. But also, just from my own experience, I can't imagine marrying someone who I loved when I was 22.
I know, me either. I can't.
No.
It's a personal pet peeve.
Yeah.
Professionally, I'm like, I'll support you. If you're my client and you want to get married young and like whatever. But personally, I can't understand it.
I know.
I wish I could.
I know.
I just can't. I'm like, you're 24. You really want to go get married and do all that now?
Right.
Like, you're a petit bébé. Like, we don't know what's going to happen.
No,
you
we
know?
don't.
It stresses me out.
I know.
I think social media has an influence too.
Sure.
And I know that's like a dark thought, but like I think when we all are all the time thinking, how is my life going to look online? How can that not come into play?
Yeah.
With like, you know, how much love am I going to get if I get married?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that's so dark.
Well, and weddings already on social
Stresses me
media,
out.
yeah, they look so joyous, and they
Yeah.
are. I mean, oh my God, a
sure.
wedding, I'm sure, is the greatest day of your life. I mean, who knows? But it's not, that doesn't mean that you have to do that right now in your life.
Right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're done. You
Yeah.
have your wedding, you have your honeymoon, you're 24, you got your house in
Coto de casa.
Coto de Casa, and that
like-
is it. Like, what
Yeah.
are you doing for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Literally.
That being said, if you want to be a child bride, you have my blessing. I don't
Same.
slay.
And you can still be a client of mine. I'll still support you.
We'll still help you come.
And I will probably need to help you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, I want to close out with this question that I ask everyone. What is something that you wish more people understood about being a sex coach?
Oh, this this is really personal, but I feel like it's something that's been impacting me lately. And I wish that people would understand that, like, I literally pour my heart and soul into my business. Like, it's a business, but I care nothing more than, like, making people feel confident and feeling empowered in their sexual choices, like, whatever gender. I don't just do this to be trendy. I don't do this for the Instagram. I don't do this to be sexy. Like, nothing. I've been passionate about this since I was 12 years old. Like, that's when I started realizing the world was kind of fucked up when it came to sexual equality, and I've just been, like, working to fix it ever since. Like, I didn't have to go back to school to get a 3.5-year degree in mental health, but I was like, this will help me help people. And I think, and if you're someone out there who's like, I want to go see a sex coach, I want to go see a sexologist, like, don't be afraid to inquire about that person and, like, ask their values. And because a lot of people get into it for different reasons, and I just want people to know that I am really passionate about sexual equality. And it means a lot to me.
Are an absolute earth angel, and you just seem like such a safe space to talk about those things with. So I will link your website and just pour people to you, because I really think you are making the world a happier, cummier, orgasmier place. So Miss Clarke Rose, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a joy.
Oh my God, I learned so much, and I can't wait to masturbate.
Yes!
Yay!
Go home and do that.
Oh my God, well, thank you, gal.
Thank you.